yesterday I thought it was very interesting that Front Office Sports put out this story right here. And ESPN, Fox, and CBS are still open to participating in a media rights package with the expanded Pac-12. So they're still open to it. The Pac-12 hopes to sign a deal before looking to further expand. Discussions for a media rights package are currently, let me get the graphic off the screen, ongoing and in an exploratory phase, one source said. It's unclear how much interest each network has, but another source characterized conversations with prospective partners as productive. And you'd have thought that the world stopped spinning yesterday when Front Office Sports released this story. And listen, I appreciate that I live rent-free in most of your heads. I appreciate that. The DMs, and people have figured out that I don't read my DMs on Twitter. So now the TikTok DMs are amazing. So let's tell you the truth about the Pac-12 media rights deal. Is the Pac-12 currently negotiating a deal with ESPN, Fox, and CBS? The answer is no, they are not. We have talked to multiple sources in the TV industry. We have talked to sources around these negotiations, and nobody is saying that they are negotiating a deal with ESPN, Fox, and CBS. And the thing that you have to remember, and here's the biggest, the problem, if you will, the holdup for the Pac-12. There's not a lot of late window inventory currently available at any of those networks. Fox and CBS, for instance, are not in the late game business. And why is that? Because they've already got West Coast Pacific time zone teams, whether that be SC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. They've already got those teams under contract on both NBC and CBS. And you look at Fox, and you understand they own the Big Ten network. There's not a lot of inventory. And then you start looking at ESPN. The issue with ESPN and the Pac-12 is ESPN holds the rights to the Big 12 conference football games. So when you expanded and you added Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, BYU, and Utah, what did you effectively do to a reimagined Pac-12? You lock them out of the late window. And BYU is a longtime partner with ESPN. And you start looking at how many late window games, those 8:30 Mountain Time kickoffs, do some math, that's 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Most of those BYU late games, where are they? Well, they're on ESPN. So there's not a lot of inventory available for the Pac-12, which is why I've consistently heard and we've consistently told you the Pac-12 is not going to be able to get a full share, 100%. We're in with ESPN and ABC and ESPN.com and ESPN Plus. They don't have the inventory to offer the Pac-12 because, again, not to be the master of the obvious, what is the footprint of the Pac-12? They are Mountain and they are Pacific time zone. That's who their identity is tied to. So if you go to ESPN and you have, pick your game, San Diego State and Boise State, and let's say that game is at Snapdragon in San Diego, and you have a BYU 8:30 home kickoff, who's getting ESPN? Well, BYU and the Big 12 are getting ESPN. They have a deal in place, and BYU has a long-standing relationship with ESPN. So if you math this thing out, there's not inventory for ESPN to be a full share partner, to be the one. And if you are doing a piecemeal deal, let's say you do a piecemeal deal, does it make sense? And again, I know we're talking common sense, but ask yourself, what conference has a deal that puts them on 4 different networks? Well, no conference has that deal. The one that's closest is the Big Ten, but the Big Ten's making $100 million a year per school, and the Big Ten has gigantic brands in it, some of the biggest brands in all of college athletics, in the history of college athletics. Does it make sense that you would take the Fresno states, the Boise states, the Colorado states? Does it make sense for Big Fox to take a Boise State Fresno State game, a Colorado State Fresno State game in a late window? Does it make sense to take that over a West Coast Big Ten game? It does not. So again, I'm just going to repeat what I've been reporting for 6 months. Here's what's likely to happen according to our sources in television. It is likely that the linear TV, the broadcast TV deal, will remain with the CW. They have the footprint, they have the inventory. And when I say footprint, because this seemed to blow people's mind, the CW has affiliates up and down the West Coast in most of the markets in the Pac-12. It makes perfect sense for the Pac-12 to grow and expand their relationship with the CW because you can put them on the ground in the cities where their members are. That makes perfect sense. So where do you go after that? I could absolutely see a scenario where you get one game a week on a smaller cable network. Now, is that going to be CBS Sports Network or FS1? It's hard to imagine that. And why is that? Because Gloria Nevarez is deep in negotiations with FS1 and CBS Sports Network, who she currently has a relationship with. She's a known entity at those networks. All of this to say, Jake, I think it's very difficult to see the Pac-12 getting an expanded, huge TV deal with somebody like ESPN as their solo partner.
Yeah, and I think what everyone's just skipping over is the fact that Front Office Sports is reporting that they want to do all of this before they expand and get an 8th full share member, which I think is wild. I don't understand why the Pac-12 thinks it's the right path to go down to try to get a media rights deal done on a group of schools that isn't the proper mix. I mean, you've got 7 full share members in Gonzaga. Like, you don't have eight full, football members in your conference at this time. So again, I'm just going to keep pointing this out and keep beating you guys over the head with it. It's not a full conference yet. So the idea that, they're going to go out and they're going to get 10 million a year and it's going to be 4 different networks and, they're just going to have everything is just foolishness. It's not possible. Nobody's going to go to them and say, yeah, we'll give you 10 mil a year. We'll give you, $80 million a year at that point, as a conference, but you don't have the proper setup. So, Front Office Sports and everyone else can report that, ESPN and Fox and CBS are, open to negotiating with the Pac-12, but that certainly does not mean that somehow, the Pac-12 is down the line, or somehow, they're in advanced talks to close a deal, or somehow that the CW and TNT,
Jake, they're in the exploratory phase.
Yeah, like I love that this comes out yesterday, and people want to tweet at us and they want to say, well, how, this contradicts everything you said. When in fact, it confirms everything we've said.
You love getting into it on the tweet
because
machine.
I'm so sick and tired of people saying, oh, well, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. They are quite literally in that article saying, hey, ESPN, Fox, CBS, they're open to negotiating. They didn't say that the Pac-12 has a deal that's down the line, that they're in advanced talks, that they're going to get a deal done. I got news for you guys. I know this is rocket science. Every TV network is quote unquote open to negotiating with any conference. That's called, hey, we're just going to get on the phone and have a conversation.
Live sports is at a premium. It's what every network wants, especially in late windows on Fridays and Saturday nights. It is tough to draw viewers to the TV in those hours. Live sports does that exceptionally well. The bottom line in all of this is, and it is unchanged, and nobody has argued with me about this, whoever gets a deal first likely survives. That's what this comes down to. Because when the Front Office Sports article came out, I called a bunch of people in TV. And frankly, most of them said, I can't see a way that Fox is in any way, shape, or form on the big Fox, on like the cable, the big broadcast network. There's no way that they can do. They don't have the inventory to offer to the Pac-12. Could an FS1 deal happen? Sure, an FS1 deal could happen. Boise State through the Mountain West has been on FS1 and CBS Sports. Sure, that could happen. But the more likely scenario is the Pac-12 is going to have to get creative. And here's the other thing that I have exclusively reported, and now just by some, mystery of
Magic fairy dust.
people are starting to pick it up and report it as well. The TV networks are asking on a consistent basis, what is it going to take to get you two back to the table to talk about merging? Because what is best for the TV networks? What is best in this front office sports story? What would be ideal for ESPN, Fox, and CBS? To have one entity that covers the entire West Coast. That fulfills their secondary channels, the FS1s, the CBS Sports networks. That fulfills all of their needs. They're not negotiating with different entities. They're not sending more money to different places. They want one product that covers their entire West Coast, that feeds FS1 and CBS Sports Network and ESPN Plus. And because, again, I know that you guys think, sources, trust me, bro. Don't forget, the hammer in the room is ESPN's going direct to consumer in the fall. And what that means is you can subscribe directly to ESPN. You do not have to have, like right now, if you're an ESPN Plus subscriber, and I think most of us here probably are, if you subscribe to ESPN Plus and you want to watch, again, pick your Pac-12 game, San Diego State and Boise State, let's say, they wind up on ESPN Plus. Right now, today, if that were the case, you have to have for me, a YouTube TV subscription. When you click on ESPN Plus and I subscribe to ESPN Plus, they say, who's your TV provider? And you actually have to log in. You click YouTube TV, you have to log in, and they verify that you have a YouTube TV account, and then they will show you the game.
Right.
In the fall, that step goes away. You pay ESPN probably $24.99 a month. You get all of their ESPN programming on your phone, your tablet, your computer, your TV, wherever you want it. And you just pay them directly. So what does that mean, and why is that significant? They need more content. Because let's say they do a deal with the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of those fans, all of those angry people on X, they're going to have to pay $24.99 a month to see Fresno State and Colorado State.
Which, again, we've reported multiple times that ESPN Plus is very much in the picture as far as ESPN is concerned. We've said that. I mean, we've been saying that for at least 6-8 weeks in terms of this deal. So we've always said, for linear,
that was before the Christmas trip.
Yeah, we've been
before
saying
the
it
Christmas trip
since before Christmas, and I think that we've always said the CW is in the driver's seat for linear with the Pac-12. And as far as ESPN is concerned, they're open to talking about ESPN Plus, but you're not going to put a lesser matchup of Boise State and San Diego State on primetime ESPN in the middle of the college football season. Exactly. You're not doing that. And so again, the reason that I just think that the way this all went down yesterday is so funny is because people just want to say, oh, well, front office sports says they're still plugged in and they're doing a deal.
You guys are so excited in the Pac-12. And I shouldn't say you guys. I want to make this really clear. It's the vocal minority. It's the reason I don't read Twitter is it's where everybody goes and they think they're tough guys and they know. And the angry Pac-12 fan, all three of you, we're so in your head that a story about the Pac-12 comes out, and who's the first person you come to? Well, that would be us.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far into your rectum we are. And I love it. I love it. The fact that it's whatever it was, 4:00 in the afternoon yesterday, and people are DMing me on TikTok about front office sports. Hey, dude, I love it. Do you know how good it is? And here's the other thing that I think is funny. This story, you can say I'm just being bitter or whatever. This is an absolute nothing burger. They reported nothing. They needed content, I'm going to guess, and they wrote a story. There's nothing there. And yet you're the vocal, angry, pissed off Pac-12 fan. Why do you hate Boise? Nobody hates Boise.
Yeah.
Why do you hate Fresno? Nobody hates Fresno. The bottom line is unchanged. I'll say what I've been saying for a month. Whoever gets their deal at $8 million per school per year is going to survive. The conference who does that first wins the Hunger Games. That's quite literally what we're talking about. There's not inventory. And the other thing that nobody wants to acknowledge, do you not understand that these TV networks don't have endless pots of money? The right, do you guys have any idea how much money ESPN spends on rights to the Big 12, to the SEC,
Yeah,
to the NBA, to Major League Baseball, to the NHL, that little thing called the National Football League? Do you have any idea how much money ESPN spends on live sports? It's hundreds of billions of dollars. It is billions and billions, and they're alone. I was looking at their rights deal, and looking at, like, the NFL is billions of dollars on its own. Like, let that sink in. Do you really think? And the Pac-12 fan, NBA agrees to terms July 10th, 2024. NBA agrees to terms on a $76 billion rights deal. And who is paying the $76 billion? ESPN and ABC, NBC and TNT. So ask yourself, do you think NBC Sports has just millions of dollars sitting around to throw it at the Pac-12 with not much time slot to put them in? No, they don't. Do you really think ESPN and ABC Disney, do you really think they just have oodles of money and it's endless and they're just going to pay anybody they want?
and again, for a product that just is not complete yet, it's not like I think the
out
thing
of
that
your
everyone
mind.
like skipped over in this reporting is that the Pac-12 wants to get a deal done before they get an 8th full share member, which again, I can't emphasize enough how, in my opinion, silly that is, because you're going to TV partners saying, yeah, well, we've only got 7, full share members and then Gonzaga, but don't worry about that. We're going to, once we get a TV deal done, then we'll expand. Like, that's backwards. You should be going to the TV partners as a full-fledged conference saying, here's our offering. What are you willing to do with us on it? Like, it shouldn't be hey, we have 7, give us money, then we'll go get 8. Like, that's not how this process has ever worked in the history of media rights deals.
They're paying, ESPN is paying $920 million directly to the NCAA. Is that for football? No. Is that for it must be basketball.
Right. The tournament.
No. They're paying that for all other championships.
Oh.
$920 million. They're paying billions and billions and billions of dollars. And so this idea, like one guy yesterday on TikTok, and I'm going to read this verbatim because it's so ridiculous. This is how little, if we're being honest, this is how little people understand the way that media rights work
via social media.
Salvatore Rodriguez.
Salvatore
Rodriguez, who is a pissed off San Diego State fan, who has sent me, I've got 12 unread messages from him. I've read the last 3. He apologized for being so angry. This is a guy who has routinely said, I'm stupid, you're fat, he sends me a message yesterday and he says, ESPN has all that Disney money. Do you really think they're tripping on a $50 million per year deal with the Pac-12? First of all, my guy, if it's $50 million, the Pac-12 is out of business.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you got that number
I
from.
have no idea where
Yeah,
you got
did you get
$50 million
from?
because let that sink in. If you're 10 teams and they're going to be 10 teams in some way, shape, or form, if you're 10, that's $5 million. I know math is, that's $5 million. So you would need to double that. You would need to, at a minimum, it's 80. That's chump change. They wipe their ass with $50 million a year. What are you talking about? ESPN is making so much money on the NFL. Of course they want the Pac-12. They're the premier brands in college football, jackass. I'm the jackass. When you think $50 million a year gets a media rights deal done, and that the Pac-12 has the premier brands in college football.
Come on.
That wasn't 5 years ago. That was yesterday, Salvatore. It's just wild to me. There's not inventory and there's not endless amounts of money coming from the TV networks. So all of this to say, is it possible that ESPN negotiates a deal with the Pac-12? Yes. Is it likely? Absolutely not. What do I think is likely to happen? My opinion is unchanged. The CW will be the Pac-12's linear TV partner, and I think they will have a significant streaming component. My guess is it will be, here's where ESPN Plus could come in. Could ESPN Plus be the streaming partner of the Pac-12? Absolutely. Is that going to get them to $80 million a year? Probably not. But what could get them to $80 million a year? The FAST channel that I've told you the Pac-12 is aggressively exploring, which is, again, if you don't know what FAST channels are, free ad-supported television with all of your manufacturers. Hey, anybody notice that Donald Trump, after he pulled his tariffs back from Canada and Mexico, anybody notice what he turned his attention to? Eliminating the Department of Education. Why is that important? Because that would eliminate Title IX, which would be huge for the Pac-12 and everybody else in college sports. But what else did pulling those tariffs back do? Well, lessen the blow of you buying a Samsung TV.
Mm-hmm.
It lessened the blow of you buying a Vizio TV, a Sony TV, an LG. Because what's a FAST channel? When you turn on your TV today, like I have an Amazon Fire TV. When I turn on that TV, it just doesn't turn it on to ABC. It gives me a menu. Hey, do you want to go to Max or do you want to go to YouTube TV? Hey, look at all these free ad-supported TVs channels that we have.
Yeah.
And how do you get paid for those? You don't. It's a revenue share. You get 50% of the revenue that we get from advertising. We keep the other 50%. That could get you to $80 million a year as a cherry on top. But it's all part of the plan.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of perspective. You have to have some kind of appreciation for how these deals get done, and that's what Pac-12 fan has never been able to have. You know, perspective and appreciation for the process and how things get done. And it's why you had, podcasts and all kinds of people saying they were going to get ridiculous numbers when the 10 left, and like there's just never been an understanding of the process. And I think that ultimately, that's why we're consistently on the right side of things, because we're telling you exactly what we're being told from people who are very educated on how these things go down. It's not difficult to understand. And that's why I was so surprised that everyone just jumped all over that story when they didn't really even say anything other than, how the Pac-12 wants to go about getting the deal done.
I think Pac-12 fans are very nervous, as they should be. Mountain West fans should be nervous too, because I'm telling you, Mountain West fans have their tail feather up a little bit. I'm warning you. The Mountain West and the Pac-12, I think their only path to prosperity, different than survival, their only path to prosperity is merging.
Mm-hmm.
And Remember, I told you this, and I've been telling you this. The TV networks continue to say, how come you guys haven't merged? What's it going to take to get you guys back to the table? Do I think that's likely? No. I still maintain it's 90% they will not merge.
Yeah.
And 10% that they would. And I think the tipping point's going to be who gets their TV deal done first. The advantage is clearly with Gloria Nevarez and the Mountain West. And I know we're the premier brands, Marty. Totally get it. Totally get it. But what the arrogance won't let Pac-12 fan understand, none of the teams, none, not one team in the Mountain West or the Pac-12 is a premier brand in any way, shape, or form in college athletics. They're not. So when we sit here and we talk about, hey, well, Marty, we're worth more. We have better, but what does it matter what you've done? All that matters is who gets their TV deal first. And if you're in the Pac-12, I understand. The meltdown of the conference kicked you in the left nut, and if the Mountain West gets their TV deal before you, they're stomping on that right nut.
100%.
Right?
Facts.
It's deja vu all over again. If the Big 12 hadn't beaten the Pac-12 to market and gotten a deal done first, and as we reported first on this show and exclusively on this show before everybody else picked it up, how did the Big 12 get that deal done? ESPN and their TV partner said, hey, Brett, why don't you
hey, Brett,
come
why
on
don't you
over.
get your ass over here?
Come on over. I got a bottle of Aquapana.
Yeah.
I got some, tiramisu sitting here on the table for you.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Pop the bottle.
Drink
get
some
fat.
water. Have some sugar. Let's
Yeah.
talk about a TV deal.
Yeah.
Fat.
And what happened to the Pac-12 at that point? Well, we told you first CBS was out. We told you second Fox and ESPN were out. And then what happened? The conference melted down. So here we are, almost 3 years later.
With the same leadership, I might add.
Teresa Gould. And we're in the exact same situation you were when the conference melted down. Because you have your TV people saying, hey, why don't you guys merge? No, we're the premier brands in college sports. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, next question.
Your arrogance is blinding. If you want to survive and prosper, you should be rooting for a merger. But Pac-12 fan is so arrogant and egotistical, and I think it's all insecurity, that you won't let yourself understand you need to merge with the Mountain West.
Yeah.
You had a framework. You had a deal done where you guys were going to become one, and you wanted Teresa Gould to be the boss, and nobody else did. So it fell apart. And then
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
one other nugget I almost forgot about was talking to a major college football administrator. And what did dude say to me? Yeah, it's not that there's not TV networks or distribution partners who want the deal, because the Pac-12 has value. Are they liquid? Can they execute? Can they not only keep the teams, but add other teams to their portfolio when all of their money that they're promising to their membership is tied up in winning a lawsuit? And the chances of them winning that lawsuit, which would be the poaching fees, is very, very minimal, slim. So no, I'm not the only one saying there's zero precedent for the Pac-12 here.
Right.
And again, just to put a bow around it before we get to your comments, you're walking uphill, a very steep hill to climb here.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get $12 to $15 million and blow everybody else out of the water, and all of a sudden everybody from the Mountain West wants to join your conference. That's never happening. $8 to $10 million. Whoever gets it first survives. The other conference probably doesn't survive. Plain and simple.
I mean,
as
this
that.
is what it is.
Plain and simple.
Again, everyone says, "Oh, you guys just hate the Pac-12," but I don't know how you just skip over, the poaching fee situation, or the fact that you don't have 8 teams, or like these sort of hurdles that the Pac-12 is having to deal with right now because of how they went about this. And that's why I say, like, the main talking point should be, how long can the Pac-12 hold out? Because money's not endless. And, by all accounts, unless they, and again, I brought this up the other day, and I'm curious if it'll, gain traction. But I'm still trying to understand why the Pac-12 isn't going out and getting private money involved to fund this venture. Like, you need money. You're a football brand. You're on the ground level, if you will. And someone could easily come in at a lower number in terms of private money and make a crap load of return on investment. So why are you not going to your people to help you?
And again, I just go back to this idea. Oh, we're going to be a P4 conference again. Oh, we're going to get what were the jackwagons on the podcast?
$600 million.
We're going to get $600 million, Marty. We got all the money. Never happened. We're going to be a P4 again, Marty.
We're going to hold up the college football playoff. We're going to hold the college football playoff committee hostage.
Never happened. Oh, one of our 2 teams gets into the playoff every year. Didn't happen. Like, you guys, you should have merged right. If in Oregon State again, and I just want to make this clear, I think Oregon State is absolutely the only victim in this situation. The only victim. They had done everything right. They had invested in people. They had invested in facilities. They had great partnerships. They had good money coming in, and they had nowhere to go. Tried to get into the Big 10, tried to get into the Big 12, nowhere to go. And you should have immediately pivoted and tried to merge with the Mountain West. And they never. Now I'm being redundant. Anyway.
But what is JC saying right here at the bottom, right there, about his TV or something like that?
Woke up to Monty yelling through my Roku TV.
Okay, JC. All right.
I hope we're on your Roku TV.
Okay.
JC, good to see you. Marnin. I believe the Pac-12 and the Mountain West will eventually merge, but what will it take? I think that's very interesting. It's fair. Washington and Oregon could have taken the high road, brought their infrastructure and money to the Mountain West, and built a much better
100%,
brand.
100%.
Built a much better brand. I totally agree. Daniel Dixon, Pac-12 died when teams left. It's nothing but a punchline now. But if you want the Pac-12 brand, if you're one of the Pac-12 people who wants the brand to survive, you gotta bite the bullet. You gotta put your pride aside. And you ask yourself truly, what is the best path forward for the Pac-12? Where does the most money come from? Where does the most eyeballs on TVs, phones, and tablets come from? Merging with the Mountain West. Everybody makes more money. Because if you have the 2 conferences as one entity, you're probably north of $10 million. Because neither one of you are getting $10 million. I don't think.
Right.
My opinion is, I don't think the Pac-12 is certainly not the $12 to $15 million they were promising. I think your 10 would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and let's say they get 10. I mean, let's say you get a TV deal done where it's $10 million a year for your current makeup, your 7 full share members in Gonzaga. And then from there, my question still remains, who are you going to go out and get? Because it's not like there's a ton of schools just sitting around not committed, so again, let's say you do get the TV deal. Let's say that all works out. You still got to get over the poaching fee situation. So that first year of media rights is going to go towards that, I would assume. And then from there, to get to 8 full share members, I just don't know who you would add that. Because again, if you have a TV deal, part of that negotiation is going to be, well, we're going to add a school that you guys would be willing to pay us for,
Certainly,
obviously. So
certainly.
At that point, I just don't know who that's going to go and be. I don't know if, again, we've talked so much about, Memphis and company out east. I just don't know how you go out and get one of those schools based on the fact that they're already signed, sealed, and delivered to their conference. So again, you're right back in the same situation of, hey, poaching fees, got to pay those. And that's why I say, like, The Pac-12's single biggest issue right now is not, hey, we've only got 7 full share members, or hey, we
That's
don't have
right.
this. Their single biggest problem is they don't have enough money to get the things done they need to get done. And so they're stealing from Bob to pay Paul. Like that's what you're
You
doing
mean
right now.
robbing from Peter to pay Paul?
Whatever. Whatever the hell the saying is.
Hey, I'm a former Catholic.
Yeah. Whatever
devotee.
the saying is.
Yeah, I think that it's just really unfortunate because I think that's a great point. Where are they going to go to expand? The Texas states of the world, okay. But you don't, there's nobody just sitting out there that's like Stanford and Cal as an example. Stanford and Cal are not going to leave the ACC to join the Pac-12.
But if you're the Pac-12, you could go to them and you could say, hey, well, we've got this opportunity. What would it take? And again, no matter what those two would say, it would take paying the fee to get out of the ACC, which again,
is
you
not
can't
gonna
afford
happen.
it. So that's why I'm saying, like if you're a Pac-12 fan, the thing you need to understand is not right what's in front of your face. You need to understand, like, hey, 6 months from now, when you do have some semblance of a media rights deal, then where do you go?
Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Because I think that's tough. But that's just me.
Yeah.
David Persons, the main thing standing in the way of the Mountain West and the Pac-12 merging are the egos and professional futures of administrators. I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. Eric and Raleigh, good morning to you. Media organizations will only pay what they believe they can get in ad revenue to cover what they're going to pay. And that's when the inventory thing becomes a real issue. Like, where are you going to put a full slate of Pac-12 football games on ESPN and ABC? Are you better off on ESPNU or the CW? You're better off on the CW, where you're readily available to anybody and they don't have to pay for it. Because, again, all that matters is eyeballs on your games, because you need to be able to leverage that partnership to drive new revenue. Because, yeah, you're getting, let's call it $10 million. Every school's getting $10 million, but that media rights money can't be your biggest win. You have to have ad partners. You have to have the ability to drive revenue through your media rights deal. And I also think that most people don't understand media rights isn't a TV deal alone. Media rights is one of the reasons that Deion Sanders is a gazillionaire and he doesn't get a penny from his media rights deal on the Colorado football level. It's because he has his Prime show and he does his radio show and he has it, like, he is a brand that has a media rights deal. Amazon Prime as an example, where he's getting paid to put Coach Prime on Amazon Prime. He's likely making Deion Sanders. Do you understand this? Let this sink in. Deion Sanders is likely making more than any university in the Mountain West or the Pac-12 will make on their media rights deal. As a brand, that's where you are. That Coach Prime's brand is worth more than your Pac-12 or your Mountain West brand.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the game you're playing. Those are the waters you're swimming in, man.
I also think it's important to point out that Deion Sanders is a new age thinker as well. So he's willing to do things maybe the Pac-12 isn't.
You guys are self-glossing now. What does that mean? I'm self-glossing.
Would you expect us not to point out when we're being confirmed?
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect?
I don't know. At that, I don't know. Kim Coulter, golf today? No, golfed last night. Maybe I'll tell that story later in the show. Incredible golf last night. It's fair. Now that Oregon State and Washington State have fractured the Mountain West, are they making less even if they do eventually merge? Again, I don't know that they'll be making less.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'd be making less. Lopes fan Gabe, a member of the show for 25 months.
Let's go, buddy.
Has that really been 25 months already? Yes, hit the like button, please. We are well north of 1,000 views, and we're only at 34 live. I'm terrible at that. It was pointed out to me last week that I am still terrible at the YouTube game.
Wow.
hit the like button, subscribe. And I would also like to thank everybody who watches on X. Our X viewership is way up. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapface.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you guys. If you were watching on Spotify, thank you very much for watching on Spotify. We really appreciate you. Come on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, give us a like. We appreciate it. Gabe, thanks for being a member for 25 months.